What up, guys? Today we will be talking about variables. A variable is basically a simple way to write something and use something over and over again. Say we had a really long string, like, I like to eat pie and drink soda every day. Now that's a pretty long string. Say that you wanted to use that about 3 or 4 times. That'll get pretty annoying to type that all out or copy and paste it. So a variable basically simplifies stuff. You can define a variable in 3 different ways. There's a local there's 3 types of variables. There's a local variable, a global variable, game global as I call it, because this one right here is a script global. Okay, so I know that you don't know what this is. I'll explain it. So a local variable basically is a variable that only runs inside a certain scope. So a scope is basically the contents of something. Like right now we're in the main script scope. Let's say, and we're gonna do this a little bit later, we're gonna learn about if statements. Say we have an if statement. Okay, this isn't even a real example of an if statement. Well, the if statement scope is from is from then to end. This is the scope of the if statement. So if we defined a local variable here named hi, it will only be able to be used inside that scope. You cannot use the variable hi out here, it just won't work. So that's what a local variable is. It only runs inside a certain scope. A game global variable is defined with g, underscore g, and a period. This basically adds it to a global table. We'll learn about tables later. And it basically allows any script to use it. And the last one is a script global. These can be used inside a script anywhere. So if we wanted a variable named fairy and equal to 1, then you can use it anywhere. It doesn't matter where it's located. The cool thing about local and script global is if you put the local variable at the very top of the script, it acts like a script global. But it saves a lot of memory compared to a normal global. I suggest using locals for globals, because it saves you memory and it allows your game to run a little bit faster. Now on to actually teaching you how to define a variable. Variables can be anything, as long as they're alphanumerical and without spaces. If there's a space in it, then it won't work. But you can substitute spaces for an underscore. So let me show you a few examples. Let's name one Riderj and another one, I don't know, Junior J5. A good friend of mine. So, you see that both of these are basic words, right? Without spaces. I can add as many numbers as I want, as long as it's alphanumerical. You cannot have punctuation or spaces or the @ sign or any of these. You just can't. Or else it won't be a variable. It'll think the Lua interpreter will think it's something else. But you can tell that a variable is being either changed or defined because there's an equal sign after it. A single equal sign. So we want to define locals just because they save memory. We'll define locals. So we'll set this to the string Riderj. And this one to, well, Junior J5. So that's how basic variables are. You can set a variable to anything that is any data type. So a bool, string, number, or user data. You can set it to any of those. Or nil, even nil. So that's how you create a variable. Very simple and very useful. Okay, on to creating global variables. To create a game global variable, as I call them, you do _g and a period. And right after the period, you put the variable name. Now there's two ways to define a global variable. You can either do _g and a period, or you can do _g, left square bracket, and then a string of Riderj equals Riderj. But it's personal preference. Whichever one you think looks nicer, they both work the same. And a script global variable works the same way as a local variable. You just define it. So, the unique thing about variables is they can be changed later on in a script. So, let's say that we set Riderj to 1. Well, after we print Riderj, we can change Riderj to a different value. And then print it out again, and it'll have a different value. So you can change values to anything. You can even change it to a string. You can, for example, Riderj will make it. That will print Riderj. We can also make it a boolean. We can also make it a user data. My bad. We'll use game dot workspace dot part dot position. Print Riderj. That's how simple variables are to use. Variables can also be set to other variables. So let's say we have local A equals 1, local B equals 2, local sum, and you can have as many variables as you want. A plus B. What we did here was using basic math operations. We added A and B together and stored it in sum. So if we print out sum, we will get 3, because 1 plus 2 is 3. So you can set variables to another variable. That's a cool thing about variables. They're very, 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 very manipulatable. Did I say that right? Anyways, yeah, but you can do a lot with variables. So, I hope you guys practice this and get used to it and just learn. Because if you guys aren't learning from this and practicing what you learn, then it's not really my fault that you're not learning. You just gotta practice. That's the main key in programming. Practice, practice, practice. Alright, till next time, see ya.